Say welcome to members to our first alcohol subcommittee meeting. It's good to see all.
Hold on, it's not, you're not ready yet.
No, not ready yet.
She'll
Not
tell
yet.
you. It's not soup yet.
Maybe I should drink some water to just get my voice all tuned up.
You're good.
Okay, you're good.
Great. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our first alcoholic subcommittee meeting. A lot of interesting stuff today. We're going to try to get through as much as we can. Let me welcome all the members. Good to see your face again. Hope you all had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. So with that, why don't we start with House Bill 256.
Okay. House Bill 256 is a Baltimore City bill. It establishes operating hours for the Frederick Station Saloon from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There was no opposition to this bill at the hearing, and there is one amendment. The amendment clarifies that the location is on the south side of Frederick Avenue as opposed to the north side of Frederick Avenue. And we received a delegation letter for this.
Great. Okay. Do I hear a motion for the amendment?
Move favorable.
Second.
And probably moved in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed,
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. No, ayes have it. Okay, how about House Bill 312?
Yes, House Bill 312 is a Harford County bill. This bill establishes a Class ALP beer, wine, and liquor license. The Board of License Commissioners may issue to a manager of an assisted living program that is licensed by the Department of Human Services and operated under a management agreement. There was no opposition at the hearing, and there is one amendment, and the amendment changes the license fee from $5,000 to $3,000 and $3,500. And we did receive a delegation letter for this as well.
What are the hours on that? The
8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Sunday.
Okay, I think the Senate might have some issues with that, but anyway, we're fine with it. So on the amendment,
Move favorable.
Second.
properly moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those who say no. Bill as amended.
Move the bill as
Move favor.
amended.
Second. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Bill is hereby declared passed.
Okay.
About House Bill 323.
House Bill 323 repeals a prohibition on alcoholic beverages licenses being issued within 500 feet of a place of worship in Queen Anne's County. We have a letter from the delegation in support. There are no amendments and there was no opposition at the hearing.
Do I hear a favorable motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. How about House Bill 349?
House Bill 349 alters unannounced inspection requirements for alcoholic beverages license holders in Queen Anne's County from once at least every 60 days to at least once every 180 days. We have a letter in support from the delegation. There are no amendments and there was no opposition at the hearing.
Move favorable.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Next bill, please.
House Bill 428 from Montgomery County, local delegation. We have a letter, no amendments. The bill, actually, wait a minute. This does have an amendment. This is what would, as a number of other delegations have done, wants to eliminate the fees for 2020 license year and reduce the ones for 2021. The amendment also remands the late fees that might have been charged either for 20 or 21.
Move the
I hear a
amendment.
motion.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no.
Move the bills amended.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no. Next bill.
House Bill 430, also from Montgomery County, repeals a seating requirement for one particular kind of Class B license. We have no amendments. We have a delegation letter.
Move the bills amended.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
House Bill 432, also from Montgomery County, local bill. We have the letter, no amendments. The bill allows a holder of certain Class B or Class H licenses in Damascus to have off-premises sales of growlers and crowlers.
Move favorable.
I hear a second.
Second.
Bill has been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
All right, HB 506 is Baltimore City Bill, and it alters the statutory references to the boundaries of Baltimore's alcoholic beverages district so that they are the same as a legislative district established in 2012 as opposed to 2002. There was no opposition at the hearing. There is one amendment, and the amendment removes references to the 47th legislative district, which is now in Prince George's County. And we have a delegation letter for this bill.
Yeah, great. This is just a cleanup bill.
Mhm.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, say no.
Move the bills amended.
Second.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded on bill as amended. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
HB 555 authorizes the Board of License Commissioners for Baltimore County to issue a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license for use by a drugstore. There was no opposition at the hearing, and there is one amendment which is purely technical.
Move the amendment.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed the amendment say no. Hearing none on the
Move
bill.
the bill as amended.
Second.
All those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Next bill.
Okay. House Bill 572 authorizes a holder of a Class C limited distillery license who also holds a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license to apply to the Board of License Commissioners to convert the license into a 6-day license. The bill also authorizes the board to issue a Class D beer and light wine license for Canton Crossing. There was no opposition at the hearing. There is one amendment, and the amendment allows for the continued sale of distilled products at Sagamore Rye in Port Covington and allows for one new restaurant license in Canton Crossing. And we received a delegation letter.
Move the amendment.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say no. On the bill as amended.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
All those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those that oppose say no. Okay, next bill.
Okay. HB 632 repeals a one-time issuing fee for new Class C beer, wine, and liquor licenses and new art establishment licenses in Garrett County. The bill also authorizes Class C beer, wine, and liquor license holders to purchase liquor from a wholesaler. There was no opposition at the hearing, and the bill does not have any amendments, and we did receive a delegation letter.
Move the bill.
Second.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All those in favor passing this bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those that oppose, hearing none. Next bill.
Oh, House Bill 644, is that the next one? Yes, okay. This is my last one on the list for today. Thanks. So House Bill 644 generally authorizes the Queen Anne's County Board of License Commissioners to exempt up to 4 other alcoholic beverages licenses from specified requirements. We have a letter from the delegation. There are no amendments, and there was no opposition at the hearing.
Move
Move the bill.
favorable. Second.
I think, is Delegate Aaron's around?
Yeah, I'm here.
I had a person ask me about this. Could you tell me a little bit more about this?
Yeah, essentially, Queen Anne's County, I don't know how familiar you are. We currently don't have any chain stores in our district. The commissioners are looking to do some things and allow chain stores in. Originally, they were allowing it in just a certain towns. Now they want to open it up to part of the county, but they're also taking out the Kent Narrows area. I don't know. Remember where we do our crab feast, that big crab feast with us? That they'll prevent these chains from being in that location.
Okay, would you have a problem if we held this till next time?
Not at all, sir. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions offline with you.
Okay, great. Okay,
Thank you.
This one, guys. Next bill.
HB 677 requires each member of the Board of License Commissioners for Baltimore County to be a resident and a voter of the county. There was no opposition at the hearing. There are no amendments, and we have received a delegation letter.
Move favorable.
Second.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
Was that
That was
Rogers is,
We're on
Rogers' bill? Sorry, this is this is a theater license in Island and Arundel County. The language for we have a delegation letter, we have an amendment. The amendment is clarifying where they can actually sell and where they can't take the alcoholic beverages after they purchase them from the separate counter. This is similar to one we did last year.
Oh, okay. I hear
Move the amendment.
Second.
been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. On the bill as amended,
Move the bill as
move
amended.
favorable.
Second.
all those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Next bill.
Also from Delegate Rogers, Anne Arundel County Board of License Commissioners. With the amendment, we do have a letter on the bill with the amendment. This basically says that the county board will hire a chief inspector at a salary of $30,000 a year.
Okay,
Move the amendment.
Second.
on the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. On the bill as amended,
Move favorable.
Second.
all those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Next bill.
HB 868, it's Baltimore City Bill, and it authorizes the Board of License Commissioners to issue a Class BB7 license at Fire and Ice Sushi Restaurant in the 45th District if certain conditions are met. There was no opposition at the hearing. There are no amendments, and we do have a delegation letter for this.
Great.
Move the bill.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed say no. Let's try the next bill.
House Bill 880 is an emergency bill which authorizes the Board of License Commissioners in Allegheny County to reimburse license holders for the entire annual fee for on-premises consumption and half of the annual fee for both on and off premises consumption for the 2020-2021 license period. And it also requires the board to waive the entire annual fee for on premises consumption, and then half of that for on and off premises consumption for the 2021-2022 licensing period. There was no opposition at the hearing and there are no amendments.
Move the bill.
Second.
Okay, the bill has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed say no. Next bill.
House Bill 883 requires Allegheny County to publicly auction newly issued and transferred alcoholic beverages licenses. There was opposition to the hearing from Allegheny County Licensed Beverage Association. There are no amendments, and we did receive a delegation letter for favorable.
Well, I think on this bill has to do with an auction and auctioning state licenses. Is that right?
Correct.
Which means that would provide statewide implications if we were to pass this. Is that correct also?
I believe so.
Bob?
Yeah, this is really we haven't done this anywhere else, and auctioning the licenses in this way by the county government as opposed to even by the board of license commissioners would seem to indicate there's a property interest in licenses, and that's contrary to state law. Currently, there is no such thing as a property interest at law in any of these licenses, no matter what they seem to sell for. I do note that there's one of the guests does have a hand raised, if you want to recognize that one, Mr. Wise.
Okay. I can't see any hands, so
Mr. Wise has his hand up if you want to
Yep.
let him.
let's hear Mr. Wise.
Okay, he's unmuted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to follow up on everything that was just said, I've been in conversation with Delegate Buckle about some possible amendments where we would move the bill away from this transfer and auction and do some other things, because the real issue is they need some restaurant licenses out there. So Delegate Buckle has a memo from me that he got today, and he was okay holding the bill if it's okay with the committee.
That's fine.
Sure. Yeah, hold it.
Yeah, but it's not just the auction of new licenses. There's also the auction of those that are returned to the board because the business is closed. So there are some other issues out there.
Okay, well, we'll hold it just to see what the amendments look like and consider them, and then we'll bill at our next meeting. So we'll hold.
Okay. Okay. Next one is House Bill 1018, Charles County Class 4 Limited Winery License. We do have a letter. There was not opposed at the hearing, and there are no amendments.
Move the amendment. Oh, that was
There's no amendment.
I'm sorry, move the
Move the bill
bill.
as amended. Move the bill as amended.
Thank you. It's been properly moved and seconded to move the bill as amended. All those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
I guess Fluffy's not voting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
1059.
Squiddle's not fluffy.
So,
Okay. House Bill 1059 establishes a gift basket permit in Allegheny and Garrett counties. There was no opposition at the hearing. There's no amendments, and we received delegation letters from both counties.
Move the
Move the
bill.
bill. Second.
all on the bill, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. This is becoming more popular, these gift baskets, I've noticed.
We drafted quite a few of them this year.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
The next one, HB 1100 from Hartford County establishes the gift basket permit in Hartford County. No amendments, no, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
there is an amendment.
There is an amendment, I'm sorry. It requires a holder of a permit to be subject to the alcohol awareness training program that's a requirement for a lot of the licenses.
I move the amendment.
Second.
On the amendment, all those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. On the bill,
Move the bill as amended.
probably moved and seconded to move the bills amended. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Yeah,
Yeah, just, I think they amended that bill on the tips and stuff like that. Are these other ones addressing that issue? Because that's going to be a problem moving down the road, delivering that stuff if minors are doing it.
say that again.
This bill that we just passed, they amended it to have the delivery person tips trained. And I was wondering if that was on all these bills that we'll be delivering.
No, I don't think so. Is that right? Bob?
Let me take a quick
Meeting on
look.
all of them. I don't think it's necessary because,
Well, if it's delivery,
And
yeah.
Allegheny.
I know they did it for Anne Arundel last year, and that kind of set some precedents.
Well, the other ones, I know that the
Exactly.
Garrett and Allegheny were modeled directly on the Anne Arundel bill.
Yeah.
I know, I drafted them. So they both require a person receiving a delivery to provide proof that they're at least 21, and the deliverer has to be at least 21. I think the difference with the Hartford amendment is they're specifically requiring alcohol awareness training, not simply that they be 21, which is what Anne Arundel and then these other bills require. So
Okay.
Hartford's sort of going the next step in this, if you will.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks.
okay. Next bill?
Okay.
Should be
1108?
Yep.
Okay, House Bill 1108 is, who is this? This is Washington County. And it increases the number of times in a year that a special event permit may be used by a Class 3 winery or a Class 4 limited winery from 32 to 60. There was no opposition at the hearing, and there are no amendments, and we have a delegation letter.
Move the bill.
Second.
All those, bill's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, say no. Was that an amendment?
Just as a reminder, Mr. Chairman, we've had a couple of letters come in saying they want to change it to be a delegation bill. The chairman of the committee has said this year, we're not changing sponsorship based on the what the House had said. So if we have an amendment saying changing it from Delegate Weibel to be Washington County, we're not doing it. So if they want the
Great.
bill, they'll get the substance. There are
We
a couple of
didn't-
others like that.
Is that what I just passed?
Yeah, no amendments,
We didn't pass, we passed without the
Okay,
amendment.
great.
no amendment.
Pass it clean, good. Okay, next bill.
Chisholm's bill from Anne Arundel County, 1136. This is one of those give the money back from the fees that they paid this year that they couldn't use. There is clarifying amendments because in Anne Arundel, they've got a rather strange system where the money comes in and instead of just coming into the board and going back out, it actually first runs through the comptroller. There's a Senate bill that has the identical text, by the way. We have an amendment. We have a letter. There was no opposition.
Move the amendment.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to move the bills amended. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Next bill.
HB 1151, Howard County Bill, modifies the maximum number of Class A licenses of any type that may be issued for one for every 4,000 residents of an election district, rather than run for every 4,000 residents countywide. And the bill also authorizes up to 6 Class A licenses per election district. There was one amendment, and the amendment authorizes the Board of License Commissioners to authorize more than 6 if the total number of Class A licenses in any election district does not exceed 1 Class A license of any type for every 4,000 residents of the election district. There was no opposition, and we received a delegation letter favorable with amendments.
Move the amendment.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
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 On the bill as amended?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
All those in favor of the bill as amended? Any discussion? Signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say no. Next bill.
HB 1152, Howard County Bill authorizes a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license to sell beer, wine, and liquor for off-premises consumption only to a person who has purchased prepared food from the place. There is one amendment, and the amendment provides that the license holder may sell this beer, wine, and liquor in sealed containers only for off-premises consumption. No opposition, and we have a delegation letter.
I got a question on this.
Yep, Delegate Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You ready to call you Delegate Howard?
He wishes he would be that handsome.
No, that's Delegate Adams.
With this bill here, what they're trying to do in Howard County, is this very similar to what we're talking about? Don't we have a statewide bill trying to do the same thing?
I think they're similar, but this has to do with, Bob, I know you can explain it better. I tried to look up why they're different, but they are different.
As I recall, this one actually deals with the statewide bill simply deals with, which is House Bill 12, deals with delivery and takeout. This actually deals with a license fee and then other characteristics of the Class B. They can actually be read together. They're not in conflict.
But it's still the overall premises is dealing with takeout from a restaurant or someplace, right?
Well, it's a Class B license, yes.
All right.
Well, typically we go along with if the county wants to do it. Otherwise, unless we find that they're
I would just say this
violating the law in some way.
Yeah, and I think this is like a backstop, because if we were to pass a statewide bill, it would supersede this one for most of the characteristics of the bill, right, Bob?
No, they are read. They are different.
They are different.
Yeah, I had the same question from the county delegation staff actually over the weekend.
Okay, can you tell me how they're different a little bit then? I'm sorry.
Well, let me take a quick look at the
from the description. It sounded spot on.
Okay, looking at House Bill 1152, it changes the currently in Howard County, the holder of a Class beer, wine, and liquor license can, at a hotel or restaurant, can sell them for on-premises consumption, and also authorizes them newly to sell for off-premises consumption to a person who has purchased prepared food. And it also gets rid of a current beer and wine off-sale permit. Prohibits the license holder from providing shelving for off-premises sales areas that are accessible to the public. It says that off-sale alcoholic beverages receipts are included in the calculation of average daily receipts. And it says they can only sell beer, wine, and liquor for off-premises consumption when the premises are open for business as a hotel or restaurant, and it changes the license fee. What the statewide bill does is to say that if you have that privilege to sell for off-premises consumption, you have to do it through the mechanism of the bill. This bill and it's for Howard County only, and I would recognize also it's actually Tiffany's bill locally. This really is newly giving hotels and restaurants the authority to sell for off-premises consumption rather than merely for on-premises consumption. So it's really an apple and an orange. They're both fruit, but they are different.
All right.
So yeah, it's up to you all what you want to do, but that's the difference in the bill. They're yeah.
Can I ask
Is
a
there an
question?
amendment on the bill, Bob?
Yes, Tiffany. Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Hold on one second. Yeah, it just says that if you're going to do this, you have to provide the liquor in a sealed container.
Okay. All right, move the amendment.
Second.
I ask a question on the bill.
Sure.
When we looked at this, when we're looking at statewide, we were talking, like you said, about how much can they possibly sell And if, let's say they had 24 cases of some special wine that you could only get there, are they allowed to sell all 24 cases?
The bill and the amendment doesn't address that. In fact, most of the current licenses that allow for off-premises consumption, sales for off-premises consumption don't deal with volume limits. That came up under House Bill 12, Delegate Watson's amendment that we'll be dealing with shortly.
Okay, but this one's going to be able to do whatever they want then, right? Or will, if we deal with it on 12, as Delegate Walker said, will that apply?
If you deal with that on 12, it should also apply to this one.
Yeah, it should supersede.
But what
state
if we don't deal with it on 12? What if 12 doesn't work or something? Then come back to this bill?
Well, I mean, it still has to be sold for along with food, and the 24 bottles of special wine, whatever the purchase price for that is, would have to come under the ratio food versus alcohol ratio requirements.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks.
Do we need to amend this, Bob, to reflect that? Well, how do we?
Yeah,
No?
the alcohol food ratio requirements are in state law.
That's it. That's in the bill already.
Okay. All right. Okay, on the amendment, guys.
Properly moved and seconded.
Okay, properly moved and seconded on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. On the bill as amended.
Move the bill.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the bill as amended signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
House
HB
Bill
1155. Yep. Go
House
ahead.
Bill 1155 authorizes a Class A license holder to deliver alcoholic beverages within Howard County, provided that the employee making the delivery is 18, the deliverer and the recipient both sign a form acknowledging that the recipient claims to be 21, and that someone must be there to receive the alcohol, and that the alcohol has to be paid for at the time of the order. This has no amendments. There was no opposition, and we have a letter.
Claims.
Move the bill.
Well, hold on. Claims, hold on.
Wait a
Claims
minute.
debate. I'm sorry.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
Oh,
So as long as the deliverer examines their license, the recipient's license, and they're 21 years old, and it says that they're 21 years old,
Yeah.
that's claims to be.
Okay,
That claims. Okay, well,
perfect.
And we're allowing,
I guess I can say I can claim to be 9.
If your license says it, if your license says it,
how old does the delivery person have to be, Tiffany?
the delivery person has to be at least 18 years old. And this is standard language in a
That's
lot of the
kinda
other
standard,
licenses
yeah.
for delivery. So.
I know, I'm just thinking about it. Hey, you tell your buddy, I know you got that fake ID. You go ahead and put the order in. I'll deliver it to you. And all I got to do is look up at it and you got it. But that's all right. Hey, it's Howard County, right?
Mm-hmm.
Move favorable.
Is this restricted to Howard County only, Howard County for deliveries?
Yes,
It's a county bill.
restricted for Howard County deliveries.
Thank you.
There's no amendment on this bill, is it?
No amendment.
On the bill, it's been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
All those opposed? Let's try the next bill.
All right, HB 1191 repeals the requirement that alcoholic beverages inspectors in Howard County must be sworn police officers. Now the chief of the county police department just has final selection authority over who is the inspectors or who are the inspectors. And the bill also allows an inspector who investigates an alcoholic beverage license violation to issue a civil citation. There are no amendments. There were no opposition, and we have a delegation letter.
Move the bill.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor of the bill signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed say no. Ayes have it. Next bill.
All right, it's me too. HB 1288 creates 2 new Class C licenses, one at Kappa Youth and Community Center and one at Current Space Art Gallery. The bill also limits liquor store hours in the 40th District of Baltimore City from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., except in certain circumstances. There was no opposition at the hearing and there are no amendments, and we have a delegation letter.
Move the bill.
Second.
And probably moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Okay, so that's all the local bills.
There are a number of other localities, notably gorgeous Prince George's and Frederick, for which we do not have any letters. If they want their bills to come out, we need letters.
Okay,
Good.
Of course, not all of them had been acted. I don't know if that was true for Prince George's.
Which bills are those, Bob?
The, let me see, I'll need to, you had you had license sanctions and Sunday off sale permits. You had BLX that we have no letters for. We don't have a letter for a Calvert County bill. We don't have a letter for a St. Mary's bill. We also have the alcohol density zones and the distance restrictions that we didn't have Prince George's letters for.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we should be meeting again on Friday if y'all can circulate a letter or something in the meantime.
Get a hold of Fisher.
And Matt
Okay.
Morgan. Yep.
Okay.
so now at the statewide, we have a couple of statewide that are not really that controversial. So let's do House Bill 185.
That's your bill, Mr. Chairman. That basically says that for for on-premises consumption, you can't require the purchaser to purchase multiples. So I think your example was you were at a Class D or something, and they wanted you to buy a 6-pack for a single consumption in order to make up their COVID profits.
Yeah,
This
there's
is
a couple of places like that.
Yeah, this is a statewide bill, and there is a fine and a penalty for it.
All right,
Need
move
a
favorable.
motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
And a motion for favorable? All
What's
those
the fine?
I'll have to
what are
take,
they buying?
let me take a quick look at that. Okay. I know I should know that, but HB, yeah, 185.
The fine should like be another bottle. So that could be.
Oh, I
25
guess.
push-ups.
Hopefully it's not spirits.
It's a misdemeanor. It's a year or 1,000 or as a max.
Yeah, I had traveled into a couple of places, and as Bob said, they were trying to make up their sales by making one individual purchase, one place wanted 4, and another location, one person to buy 6 beers. If you can imagine a person leaving there, what they would feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like
That was
4 or 6
wrong,
beers.
absolutely.
This
So
is
Tom,
on-prem.
like-
This is sales for on-premises consumption,
On-premise consumption.
and you're not supposed to be able to serve somebody who's drunk, but they want you to buy 6 of them.
I got you.
Each person, if you come,
Yeah.
4 of you, all 4 of you gotta buy 6 beers. So anyway. we
Now,
have a
just to be
motion
clear-
for favorable, all those in
Yeah.
favor signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposes? Great.
Okay, 422 we passed last year. There's now a Senate cross file. This is Delegate Barnes, minority business participation in the alcoholic beverages industry. This is where there is, the person came in and testified. He is the only person of color in the second tier. And they're just looking for some data to and wondering what they can do to help support the minority participation in all tiers of the alcoholic beverages industry. There are no amendments. And since it's a statewide bill, there's no delegation letter needed.
Okay.
Move
Hear a
favorable.
motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
There's a motion for favorable. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, say no. Ayes have it. The rest of the bills kind of seem to be like sort of issue. So we're going to pretty much do some discussing of the other four pieces of legislation and see how you all feel. If something you want to move, then we can do that too. But at least let's offer some discussion, see if any amendments are needed to any of these bills. And we'll be back at it Friday, I believe, anyway.
Or tentatively Friday, we need to work with the staff to figure out, make sure we're not overlapping with other things, but we're hoping for Friday
Yep.
as the next go. If not, it'll probably be Monday.
So take your pick, Bob.
It's not up to me, sir. You've got House Bill 12, which is the delivery we were talking about earlier for Howard County. There's
Let's
an
go with
amendment.
that.
There's an amendment from Delegate Watson. Two things it would do. First of all, it would allow the local licensing board to put limits on how much you can buy for takeout. That was Delegate Arontz's question on the Howard County bill. And the other thing is it would sunset it, I think, in what was it, 24? Like a 2.5-year sunset.
Okay. Are there any other amendments?
Not
I
for
have a
that bill.
question. I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Delegate Valderrama.
Thank you. Bob, so that amendment to sunset, the original bill was permanent, right? Just so I
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was a statewide permanent, supposedly, essentially putting in place the delivery provisions of the executive order, making them permanent. The amendment, let me just pull this up. My computer is being weird as to what shows where. As I say, the amendment makes it sunset at the end of June 30th, 2024. That's Delegate Watson's amendment.
Bob, is there any language addressing what the value may be, or does it say
No.
the local counties may set what the volumes are, or is this
What
value?
what the amendment says is that the local body may limit the quantity of alcoholic beverages that may be sold or delivered under this section to an individual in a single transaction. So, if they want to say you can only get 2 bottles, but it's your super special, Lafroig 50-year-old Scotch, that might have a higher value than your 6-pack of Bud.
Yeah, I mean, I know, during the hearing, there was some testimony like, hey, does this pretty much allow a restaurant to be a liquor store for a couple of years if they're not counting the volume, not to what they're selling to the customer, but overall?
I'd have to leave that to, as I say, I'm just a lawyer and I don't even drink. So
that was something that was brought up, right?
It was brought up. And the question is whether there's whether it should be by amount for consumption or whether it should be by value. There are no safeguards in the bill, but with the amendment, as I say, it would allow the county board to limit the quantity. So essentially the number of drinks that you would be selling. It's if you're going to limit that sealed martini, which is made with a very special vodka, then that's one thing compared with simply the number of sealed containers you send out. Delegate Arntz has a question.
Yeah. Let me ask you, what was the rationale for 2024 versus
Can I ask?
a lot of things are 2022? Why would we not, what is the rationale for going that long?
You'd have to ask Delegate Watson. I have no clue.
I just have a problem with that long. I don't know. I don't understand it. I do understand these places have gone through a lot of issues and a lot of problems, but that just seems like an overly long period. That's 3 years almost.
Okay, this would take effect in July 1 of 21. So that's up to you all.
2.5 years, then I understand. I just think that's a long period. I'd like to have some more discussion on it.
You know what? On this one, I feel fair with that 2024 because I know that some of these businesses have had to get more space to handle the inventory and the volume and stuff. So, I mean, I know it was set to go with the emergency order originally, is when they got into it a little late. So if you got to give them another, let's say add another year before we come out of this pandemic 1.5 years. Some adjustments made.
I would agree with you. I used to be in the business, and I do know that if I had free reign for a year, I can really I can push some alcohol out. I'm very pro business. I'm very pro restaurants. I just think that's an exorbitant time for the Wild Wild West, if you will.
Is anyone from the Restaurant Association with us, Bob?
Let me check. I believe Melvin was here. Let me see if he still is.
Yes, sir. I'm here. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Melvin Thompson with the Restaurant Association of Maryland. And we are continuing to have conversations with Steve Wise of the Maryland Licensed Beverage Association. We have some amendment language that we've been working on and should have that available for the subcommittee's consideration at your next meeting. We're just not finalized on that language yet.
And you guys are working on this time frame that the members are mentioning now.
Yes, I know you mentioned Friday would probably be your next meeting.
Correct. Some members having an issue with 2024.
Oh yes, we are addressing that as well. So
okay.
From staff's perspective, if I can just suggest, if there's a meeting on Friday, we need the language on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay.
While we have them there, can I ask the Restaurant Association, what was the need for?
You all recognize Delegate Walker?
Thank you. I thought I said, Mr. Chair, while we have the Restaurant Association there, Mr. Thompson, can you tell us what was the original premise behind going with 2024 compared to 2023?
A lot of our members believe that we should extend the privilege for 3 years because it's going to take several years for the businesses to actually recover fully from the effects of COVID. And we thought that 3 years would be appropriate, but that is language that we're continuing to discuss with the Licensed Beverage Association, if there's any compromise on the duration.
But if this COVID situation begins to level out, there'll still be room for us to, if it's still at its worst, we can always not allow it to go into effect. So if it happens any sooner, we do want to see what the economy is looking like before we stretch it out too long or make it too short. You there, Melvin?
Oh, yes, sir.
That
question was directed at me.
I'm just trying to figure out, one of the things I've talked to a couple of you guys about this. I'm just trying to see what's the right angle, because should the pandemic levels out and things look good, then it may not need to go. That's the whole purpose of this anyway, is to help companies and businesses throughout this period. But if they're not doing well, we can always extend it. And if they are doing well, then we can probably look at some point of which when we will end it. So, because the whole idea is to help these companies during this rough time, and not to be in a long, drawn out and or a permanent type of situation.
That is correct. And right now, the privilege is really helping our businesses. They are providing the alcoholic beverages with their carry-out food orders, and customers really like it. A lot of businesses have changed their business models. They're doing this more often now and would like the opportunity to continue that for 3 years, because it's really going to take a while for our industry to recover. And so we think that allowing 3 years will give us the time that we need to make those additional sales and help the businesses along. But you're right, we can certainly reconsider that at that time, but we have decided that 3 years at a minimum would be what we prefer.
Okay, that's fair enough. Anybody else?
I would add on to the chairman's support. I think having this 3 years is long. We're only a year plus into the pandemic, which everybody's been damaged. And I think we understand that. To go further, there's no sense damaging somebody more, like damaging the package stores more for an extra year if we don't need to. So I would agree with you, Mr. Chairman. We can always extend it. We can't really go back on it if we do something. And my concern would be, that would be my concern. And I like I said, I'm a restaurateur. I love restaurants, but I just see there's been a lot of damage all the way around on this pandemic. And I think restaurants have suffered, but I think they're doing a good job. They're pretty innovative and they'll come back pretty quickly.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Wise has his hand up.
Yeah, Mr. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The other thing I would add is that, as we spoke about at the hearing, this privilege, as well as the privileges given to the manufacturers under that same executive order, we said that the timeline should probably be the same for both things. And with the manufacturers, they're given under the executive order privileges of direct shipment across the state. And if you do that for the manufacturers in state, you've also got to do it for out of state. So if you want these privileges to have a similar timeline, by extending this one to 2024 or 23, you're really just inviting a problem with the other bill on the manufacturers and direct ship, because if you extend it out that long for the in-state manufacturers, the out-of-state manufacturers are going to demand that they be given the same privileges. Now, you can say the timelines for this, for the bars and restaurants, is different or should be different from the manufacturers, but just to be aware, those were all given by the same executive order. And if you're trying to do the same thing for both, you got to be really careful with that other bill, because you're just inviting a major, major problem.
Okay. Any further discussion on House Bill 12?
Hey, Mr. Chair,
Delegate Walker.
this is more of a generic question for the group. As I'm sitting here thinking about this, right? Let's look at during the COVID situation. Obviously, we know the pandemic. We know the restaurants struggled. No denying that. And we also know the liquor stores probably did well. They did a good job of kind of carrying some people through some tough times. Now, if we open it up to restaurants, where restaurants realize, hey, there's a escape, and they end up affecting the liquor stores. And then we also got a statewide bill we're looking at where supermarkets may perhaps get involved. Are we thinking what some of the damages may be long-term to these liquor stores if both of these instances were allowed? And even if you talked about during the short run, it's just crossing my mind. I know we're having a discussion on it. So I don't know if I was the only one that felt that way or thought about that.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Delegate Walker. I think we have Jim Kelly with us that could possibly shed some light on what impact this might be if we open it up to those that are wishing it to be opened up by their legislation. So why don't we hear from Jim Kelly if he's...
Jeff Kelly, if he wishes to.
Yes.
He's in the call, but he'd have to unmute himself.
Just working through that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I was listening, but I'm not sure exactly what you want me to weigh in on. I'm happy to do that.
Delegate Walker was simply asking what impact would this by us with all these, we have all these bills that are requiring us to open the doors on beer and wine and so forth. What kind of impact will that be, should we do 2 to 3 of these type of bills?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate that in the explanation. I think it's hard to predict because obviously we've seen something we haven't ever seen before. We do have almost a year's worth of experiences now. I think Delegate Walker indicated that the packaged goods stores have done a pretty good job of changing how they do business, and it seems as though they've been faring this okay. And I think the privileges that were extended or granted under the executive order have been incredibly helpful to the retailers, the off-premise retailers, and I guess even the retail operation of some of the manufacturers. I know they'd like to continue that. I imagine there is some benefit for them to be able to continue it, but long-term, I don't think I could give you any information as to how that might impact, considering grocery stores potentially selling a product as well as the ability to continue to sell off-premise from a typical on-premise restaurant. I don't think I could give you that reading. I really don't know what the long-term impact's going to be.
Could it be public health? I know you have we have an entity that I think when we changed the, Delegate Miller's bill that actually created that commission, didn't we have some sort of health component to that that bill that could possibly look into that?
You know, you absolutely did. Now, I will tell you that currently I'm not a member of that commission. I'm not part of that. And that is an element. There certainly was a big emphasis on health impacts of various legislation. And it was really geared toward the health impacts of that. I will tell you this, and you may recall that the original date for this commission to be stood up was July 1st of 2020. And because of COVID and an abbreviated session last year, that was pushed back to January 1st this year. The commission is up and running and is finding its feet and finding its way. I don't know that they're staffed properly yet or sufficiently in operation to be able to undertake a significant review of I just don't think they have the expertise yet to do any kind of a health impact on allowing this type of sale to continue or allowing these extended privileges to continue. I know they're going to get there, and I think they're making great headway, but they're just not there yet.
Okay. Yeah. You still have the floor, Delegate Walker, if you have any questions.
Yeah, I guess my only one, if we could have any information, like I'm thinking out loud here. I know that during the pandemic, I know that liquor stores did well, but then also at the same time, the argument could be made that even when the restaurants opened up and were allowed to sell, I wonder, did that put any type of hit on the liquor stores at all? Or did they pretty much coexist and everybody did well? It helped save the restaurants a little bit of money and it didn't eat into the profits of the liquor stores and they were able to coexist as well. Did you hear anything from any of your members regarding stuff like that? Did they take a hit when the restaurants came online?
Well, this is Jeff. That's probably a better question for Mr. Thompson or Mr. Wise relative to their memberships.
Yeah.
No, I think, no, which group do you represent? I'm sorry, sir.
I work for the Comptroller of Maryland. We used to be involved in alcohol regulation until January 1st.
Yep. All right. No problem. Mr. Chairman, I withdraw the question. We can move on.
Well, I'm interested. Let's hear from Steve Wise.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think that it's been difficult to assess at this point. I mean, obviously, as Delegate Walker said, the package stores, when the pandemic first hit, had quite an increase in sales. That leveled back off as we got into the summer and the fall. And in truth, they missed out on some of their big sales days too. I mean, there was no, for example, here in Annapolis, there was no Navy graduation. There's no July 4th celebrations. There's no big Labor Day parties. So that, balanced out some of the increase that the package stores saw. I think the point is that until things get back to normal, we aren't going to know how these new privileges impact anybody until we get back to normal and can assess it at that point. So that's why we think the shorter time period is the better move. You can always extend it again next year if you have to.
Okay. Okay. Any further discussion on House Bill 12?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, we've come to, we had set aside an hour for this subcommittee meeting, and we've just spent an hour at the subcommittee meeting. So
Okay.
what do you want to do with the rest of them?
The rest we can hold.
Obviously,
until-
that's held, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll hold them all until the next time we can meet.
Okay, is there any other discussion you'd like to take of things that may need to be brought up? I know Delegate Brooks, you're
Yes.
1232. I noted that amendments were expected. I haven't seen any yet. Do we know what's happening with those?
Okay, I'll definitely find out today. And we'll get back to you on those.
Yeah, I
Hey,
just
Bob.
didn't know if there was any discussion that needed to be held before amendments were drafted to any of these bills. Delegate Howard has his hand up.
Thanks. I just wanted to let everyone know that I've texted Fisher and Morgan, and Fisher said he sent the letter for the Collier County alcohol bill, and he will resend it. So just be looking out for it.
Okay, we have received letters from their county commissioners or their boards of licensed commissioners. I had not yet seen, and I'll check with staff, where that
delegation.
actually have an actual delegation letter.
Yeah, and that's what I told him. We need a delegation letter.
Yeah, we need something with their signatures. You know, the county commissioners are wonderful people.
Yeah.
And so is the Board of License Commissioners, but we actually need to hear from the delegates too.
Okay. Yeah, I specifically said that, so.
Appreciate it.
Sure.
Yeah, and no problem. I mean, there's no opposition to the bills. We just need the letters to move the bills out of subcommittee.
And real quickly for Steve, while we're on Delegate Brooks' bill, when you were referencing both the other sunset, where you mentioned, was Delegate Brooks' bill the bill you were referring to?
Yes, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear on that.
Yeah, and the barrels, from what I understand, is a part of that cleanup, the number of barrels.
Right. There's quite a few provisions in that bill that were from last year. And, you know, we agreed to those last year. The Licensed Beverage Association did. It's the new parts with the direct ship, the unlimited off-premise sales that are the issue going forward.
Okay, I see also Brad Rifkin is here and he has his hand up.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to remind the committee that with direct shipment, the wineries have been able to do that in statute for about a decade without problem. I think there are about 1,100 wineries shipping into the state of Maryland right now. So just wanted to put that out there to make sure everyone was aware.
Yeah. And again, as I said earlier, you know, we are looking at all of this stuff because of COVID. And should COVID pass, we don't want to make sure we don't have something in play that will kind of change the direction of alcohol in our three-tier system here in Maryland. So we just got to make sure we keep that in mind as we move down this road. Anything else, Bob?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I'd simply point out that on Delegate Brooks's bill, there may be some things that should be changed going forward, the cleanup stuff that should be indefinite and have been agreed. There may be other things like changing around the these offsite permit systems that if you're going to sunset them, you need to break apart the bill into the cleanup portion of the bill, which would be permanent, and the system change, which would be under a sunset. And that's just, as one who drafts these things, that's a pain in the neck, but it has to be dealt with, if that's your concern.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
If we have a subcommittee meeting on Friday and that is not yet set, but it's something where we would like to have the text on Thursday. That would be it from the staff's perspective.
Yeah, as well as any other amendments to any bills that we did not deal with. make sure we get them in the amendments by Thursday. Anything further, Bob, members?
We'll bring all of these bills that have had a favorable report to the, we won't have them on the voting list for this afternoon for full committee, but sometime later in the week, I hope to do that. And then we'll take up the other ones as needed, as they come through.
Does the members have any further questions? No? Okay,
All right, sir.
thanks, Bob.
Okay, thank you all.
See you
Thank you all.
guys.
See you at
See you
4:30.
guys.
Yep.